We've entered a new period of legitimation and maturation for the crypto industry. There's no question about it. I've been watching this industry for a long time. I was privileged to be the first ever advisor to Coinbase, introduced to them back in 2013. And this industry has gone through lots of peaks and valleys, but we're now at a point of ultimate legitimation. And let me explain that, but it comes with real risk. We've seen this administration, Trump administration, be incredibly forward-leaning with respect to becoming the crypto capital of the world. That's how the president has talked about this, which has meant three core things. One, lessening of the regulatory pressure and enforcement that the Biden administration, prior administrations have placed on the crypto industry. So the SEC has backed away from its enforcement actions. Very clear that you aren't going to see the regulation by enforcement attitude from regulators that you've seen in the past. Secondly, you've seen through the OCC and other federal banking regulators a greater willingness to signal that it's okay to deal with crypto. That is to say that banks are not going to be pressured to ex ante demonstrate that they can understand and manage crypto risk the way that they were in the past, that they are still going to have to manage the risks attendant to those types of platforms or clients or tokens, but you are going to see this be part of a normalized way of regulating these institutions as opposed to an additional ex ante layer of regulation. And then finally, this administration has gone all in legitimating the use of crypto in the financial system. So it's not just a matter of not regulating it as heavily or making allowances. This is a forward-leaning approach to making crypto not only acceptable, but very much an exciting, adopted technology. And you're seeing this first and foremost with the stablecoin discussions and marketplace, where the administration has declared there is not going to be a formal federal digital dollar or central bank digital currency, but there is going to be an allowance for the stablecoin market to mature and evolve. On Capitol Hill, the Genius Act is being negotiated to provide the regulatory parameters and details for what the stablecoin market should look like in a regulated way, which is welcomed by the crypto industry. And you have more and more market players, including traditional financial institutions like Bank of America, JP Morgan, announcing that they are going to enter the stablecoin market once it's regulated. And so you have, with stablecoins, sort of the adoption in a dramatic and radical way in the traditional financial system, as well as by the government. In addition, you have President Trump announcing the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, which in essence is an asset forfeiture fund where the administration has said, we're not going to sell Bitcoin, we're going to accumulate it for the good of the country because we believe in this as an alternate asset class. We believe in its increasing value, and we don't want to sell it away the way that we have in the past. This has caused some degree of controversy. There was a lot of questions as to what this would look like, but it's another signal of the legitimation of the crypto industry, in particular Bitcoin, where the U.S. government is actually creating a strategic reserve with those assets. And so we are at a period now where we're racing toward greater legitimacy, greater integration into the traditional financial system, greater regulatory clarity, which the industry has been asking for a long time, and then the competition happening internationally. What's fascinating to me, having watched this industry for a long time, is the peaks and valleys of legitimation and skepticism. And we're coming out of a deep crypto winter. I called it the crypto blizzard, where not only were the markets down, not only were values down for those involved in the crypto sector, not only did Bitcoin drop to $15,000 Bitcoin, but you had deep skepticism, policy and regulatory skepticism. You had the FTX scandal. You had the Bitcoin prosecution of the CEO and the imposition of a judgment and a monitorship on Bitcoin, on Binance, excuse me. And so you had this real valley of illegitimacy or sense of skepticism that was pressuring the industry. And now we've reached sort of a peak of greater and greater legitimacy that's being driven by this new administration in the US. And so there's lots of blind spots and risk maturation that needs to happen. There's still lots of questions as to how regulators and law enforcement will deal with tumblers and mixers. Even though the sanctions off of Tornado Cash have been lifted, you still have the Section 311 designation of tumblers and mixers as classes of transaction of primary money laundering concern. You still have a question of how you regulate unhosted wallets, and ultimately a question of how you deal with regulation of financial crime and fraud risk in a decentralized system where we know bad actors like the North Koreans are taking full advantage of the crypto ecosystem, the cyber vulnerabilities, and the ability to cash out as a way of profiting for the nefarious purposes. And so these are core national security, economic security, and regulatory questions that are going to be that will have to be part of the regulatory and policy maturation as we see the legitimation of the crypto industry. It's an exciting time to be watching the space, exciting time to be innovating, and I think the technologies are going to continue to evolve analytically in terms of investigations, even clawing back illicit assets in interesting ways that will allow authorities and regulators to gain greater scrutiny and a greater upper hand on the illicit activity. But this is a realm that is still in formation. It's a domain of the financial system that will continue to evolve. And it's a place where all of us who've been involved and have been watching the space want to see its legitimation happen, but happen with the management of illicit financial crime risk and national security risks front and center. And so that's the next chapter of the crypto industry.